for David Kaufman.
Hey, Greg. On the night itself, how would you summarize the performance and the effort of the group tonight?
But came down to a little bit of a game of moments, especially for them. I think they didn't have too many chances at all. A couple in the transitions. The first one for me is a little bit crazy because it's the 47th minute already, and we play a ball into forward, which is fine, but then we have guys kind of running beyond there who aren't going to get involved in the attack. They're not going to make it, and they're running beyond guys that we could be controlling in transition, and then not being mindful of or talking through Dayon rolling to the outside, dealing with the situation. I just think, again, you're at the 47th minute. That's going to be 2 extra minutes. We've got to be way more mature in that situation to see the half out. So that was one of the moments. For them, I think Novak probably makes one save, maybe, that was there. The second one is another moment, miss exchange on the outside. We kind of dribble ourselves into a bad situation, miss the exchange. Again, it turns into a counterattack. Anyways, they find a way to get it on goal. I felt like it was savable, if I'm being honest. That becomes 2. I think for us, that's them. I think Novak makes one other save. Other than that, I felt like they were playing for the transition moments. They had some possession, but not threatening really in the grand scheme of things, but they had some possession. For us, I felt like at times we were rushing things, and then there was times where we needed to play with a little more urgency, but not necessarily rush attacks. There's times where we rushed it and we lost it, and it came right back to us. We tried to play maybe too fast, and we gave away a ball or we gave away a situation, and it came back to us. We had a couple chances in the early where we win the ball in the transitions and we play it back across the front of the goal. We need to make them pay for stuff like that. So for me, it's a couple missed opportunities in there to maybe go up one in the first half. We didn't create a ton of chances in the first half. They went low with 5 in the back. The Suleimanov was dropping low into 5 in the back. It just became a little bit of, can we build numbers and momentum to be able to finish some of our attacks? We didn't finish many of them in the first half. But we had a couple looks. The second half, obviously, we came out and we tried to put one a little higher. First, it was Eric Tommy who was taking up a higher position, bring Elijah a little higher. So we added an extra number into the attack because they were going lower, and I think we started to create some problems for them when we started to find some interesting opportunities. But then we give up the second goal, and then I felt like urgency really kicked in after that, and then I felt like we were into some really dangerous areas throughout the course of the latter part of the second half. A lot of them came off the same play that ultimately ended in the goal, but for me, there was a questionable PK in there potentially. I haven't seen it all back, but I kind of saw a bit of it. But in the end, we have to do better with our opportunities. We let some slide the other night, and tonight you gotta make do with some of those opportunities. They made do with 2 out of the 3.5 that they had.
If you look at your, the first 3 or 4 MLS games, you aren't giving up a lot of shots on goal, but like you said, you're not taking care of your chances there that probably put games away. How do you get to a point where that's sort of reversed, where you guys are putting things away and you are up, 2-1 closing games out, or 3-1 closing games out?
Well, I have to.
Or does this team need to work in that area? Can this team
we definitely need to get some time and work in there. But I would say coming into the game without Joe and Gabe, I thought we would probably create a couple less chances than we might normally. I mean, those 2 high-quality players who do create a lot of dangerous moments for us. So being a little lower in the chance creation wasn't a big surprise for me. However, I think when we do get into some of these areas, we do need to be more clinical, and that's something that I think and I hope that as we continue to build in the season, maybe even a little more training time, guys get in front of the goal, we build some confidence, we build some good finishing habits. But right now, we've got to try to take care of business while we have it and try to take points while we're working through that. Maybe a couple guys I thought with a little bit tired legs, especially kind of as the game progressed, maybe weren't as fresh as we would have liked them to be. But I think in the end, it's just a game of moments. I thought we had control of large stretches of the game. It's just a game of moments, and we've got to be better in ours.
Hey, Greg. Looking especially at the midfield and acknowledging that Joe and Gabe don't play tonight, so you do lose some of that creativity. Where do you want to see that creativity coming from the guys who are on the field tonight?
Yeah, I think creativity it's an interesting word, because I think there's different ways to be creative. I think with the group of players that are out there tonight, it's not going to come from winding, dribbling actions that you see kind of Gabe go on, and he gets on the dribble and he eliminates the guy and he plays and he keeps things moving. That wasn't going to be tonight. So it ends up being off of good combination play, guys being able to, and we had some good combination play, but I thought a lot of it was in the midfield and in the build, and it wasn't necessarily higher up the field where we needed some of that interaction to take place. So that's where I think Marco has to be a part of some of those creative moments. Zhao is going to have to be a part of some of those creative moments on a night like tonight. I felt like other guys did worker bee type of stuff, like Harbour did some worker bee type of stuff. I think Eric's still got to get into the rhythm of the team a little bit, but I think he has the capacity to add some creativity to our group. I think there were some moments where Elijah shows his power and strength to carry to the next line, and then it's the what happens next kind of a discussion, and that's where I think, when you take out the Joes and the Gabes, then some of those situations don't materialize the same way they might otherwise in a day. So I think, again, I don't think we have that Ricky Pooch midfielder who is going to do some of that creative individual stuff. It's going to be more off of things that are in sync, and timing is right, and the running and the timing of the running is good, things like that.
And then speaking specifically about Marco, he surely shows up in the big moments, and you can see, when you guys score goals and just his impact on that. But are there too many quiet moments from him as well, or is that his game?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna be part sometimes where he'll be in and out a little bit, and some of it's because of his dependency on us to get him the ball in certain areas and then to be moving off of him. Again, he's not gonna create the individual moment where he goes slipping past people very often, but if he has spaces, he'll drive and he'll make great decisions, or he can play off of guys. But what he gives us is some quality in the final action where you need to slip a pass, or we need to hit a cross into a good area, or things like that I think of the guys we had tonight, he's a guy who can add that little different bit of quality when you don't have Joe or Gabe or somebody who's going to add that piece. So that's why I was hoping that he could find a magic wand moment or two in there where we could find him in the right spot and he can orchestrate a final action. He ends up getting the goal in the end, and there's a couple of good balls that he whips across that we just miss. But yeah, you're not gonna see him do the stuff that we've seen some guys where he's going to pick it up and eliminate guys on the dribble and then create a new scenario on the other side of that. So it's going to be a little bit of collective and him using his vision and quality to move things around.
Hey Greg, let me get your thoughts on a little bit of what Kansas City was doing. You mentioned they would drop to 5 in the back at times, and they would have the midfield right on top of it. There wasn't much space between the lines.
Sure.
When you were able to get in and try to get some shots on, how many of them ricocheted off of somebody and just went somewhere else? There was just no real open paths to the goal. How do you break that down when they're playing that so effectively? And is that a matter of having the right personalities in there, and what you were missing today, it just wasn't there?
Well, I think the first thing is when we have one or two of the earlier chances, we need to score first, because then it disrupts this concept that you can sit low and live on a transition basis. And I felt like we had a couple again where we won it in the press, or we get to a couple of good spots, and we need to bury one of those, and then I think it may reset sort of the concepts of how they're going to get through the day, right, to get a result or to win. And maybe they then extend themselves, and now some of those pockets show up. But it's tough again, like when you give up, again, they didn't have many chances, a couple breakouts, and you give up one of those goals, it reinforces that they can keep putting numbers behind the ball and numbers low. And And that became, then everything is tighter spaces, and when you need that, timing has to be better, or individual quality has to be better. Somebody who can eliminate somebody on the dribble can then create maybe a better numbers scenario, things like that. So it does become more challenging. Or we need to be able to put balls into dangerous areas and win some crosses, win some things in front of the goal. As I think a little bit our goal ended up a melee of sorts of three or four chances before we finally got it into the back of the net. It wasn't necessarily the first chance that was the one. It was by getting to a dangerous area, putting it on goal, and then playing off of those moments. So I think the biggest thing is, ideally, is you got to manage the transition moments, and you got to get ahead in those games, and you got to force the opposition out of that posture. But when they go back to 5 in the back, I still think with our crew, it's how do we recognize that and get an extra number up high, but still can be able to control some of the counterattack situations. And again, we looked better, I thought more dangerous when we were able to get an extra number higher a little later, but we still have to be able to defend the counterattack.
In terms of
And the counterattack, by the way, the second counterattack was our own doing. We just flat out lost the ball in an area we didn't need to lose the ball, and then it came back at us. So it wasn't like they did anything specific in that moment. So.
and they were efficient when they went on the counter.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have a couple guys with a lot of pace, and they got a couple guys with some quality. And Dayon is Dayon, right? No matter what, he has a nose for the goal.
Yeah, he was very good tonight. In terms of getting everything kind of connected up top, with Klaus, brand new with the team, is still working out relationships and so forth. You got Tony, just starting now. Tonight without Joe and without Gabe, you got Harbor up there who's shown that he has the ability, but these aren't guys who play together regularly. In terms of tying all that together, where do you feel you are? How much further do you feel needs to go before it's in a position where you like it?
I think when we have everybody healthy and everybody together, I think we've had some good moments. We've had some moments where we just need to be more efficient around the goal, where we've created opportunities and we could be more efficient. In Colorado, I feel like we needed to be more efficient. Or I feel like the other night, obviously in the cup match, we should have scored 6 or 7, but we were very inefficient in front of the goal. So I think it's a combination of things. I think, it's early in the season, it's a lot of games. For me, Zhao, maybe legs a little heavy too, trying to work through these various games as it gets going, and then finishing is sometimes just organizing your feet and doing some of that. So I don't think we're far off. Again, I think we've had some really good stretches. I happen to, if we can keep 11 guys on the field, which we were able to do tonight, but in the first 2 games, I think we have something more out of each of those games. So we've got to be able to continue to put 90 minutes together with our group and execute. And I think we will be in a positive way because we're doing a lot of good things through the course of the game. We haven't given up many chances over games, and so I think if we can defend well, it gives us time to get some of that stuff connected. And we just have very little training time to work on things. So their guys are working on things through each of these games, and then they're recovering for the next game. So when you're looking at patterns or timing of actions or anything like that, it becomes, we're working it out there in front of everybody. It's not something that's happening out on the training field often. So, but we just got to be cleaner. We got to be better.
Hey, Greg, thanks so much for talking to us. The team was booed post-game. How do you process something like that, and how do you go about working through that with the team? Do you guys address that in the locker room, and then do you have a message perhaps for Galaxy fans that might be concerned about performances at the moment?
I don't address it because it's the fans were upset that we lost the game. So I think the guys are upset in there too that they lost the game, and and I think the fans have a right to boo the guys if they were disappointed. I don't know if they're booing us or booing the referees or who they're booing at the end of the game, but there's some booing that could go around into a few different places, so I don't get too caught up in that. I think for us is to keep working through our process. Again, keep working through things, get guys on the field together and get sharper. I think we're doing all right. We gotta get through CCL. and move to the next round, go play a difficult game, which is going to be flying from Jamaica straight to Portland to play in the afternoon, which is going to be a beast of a game for us to play. But we're stacking games on top of games right now, and we, unfortunately we took 2 red cards in 2 of the 4 games at the end, and things like that, little discipline moments where we could be better. There's little things that we're encountering that we've got to be better with, and finishing some of our chances, but I think the pieces are there, and I think you've seen a lot of that in the performances. Looking at the Colorado game, like, again, we don't give up if we don't take the red card, we're moving forward to win that game. They know it, coach knows it, we talked about it after the game, they know they were in a tough position, so it's just, we've got to put the 90 minutes together with discipline. We got to put the 90 minutes together and finish chances, and we got to put the 90 minutes together and stay solid on the defensive end, which a lot of those bits and pieces have been there, but not all collectively for enough of the games. But we're moving in the right direction, and some of this, unfortunately, tonight we showed up without 2 of our most important attackers, and that's part of this sport too. And we got to find a way to come away with a win.
Hartman Miller replaced one of those attackers tonight, and he looked very, very lively. He started getting forward and combining well with the attack. Talk to us about his evolution. Especially being that we saw him first as a defensive player, now we're seeing him a little bit further up the pitch. Thank you.
Yeah, as I've said before, he grew up as a winger, so in his heart of hearts, he wants to run around and create attacking opportunities, and he's not short of confidence, so he'll go for things, and he'll dribble, he'll run, he'll do things. He's talented, he's got good feet. He's very right-footed and left-footed, so he has a lot of things in his toolbox, and so his energy was good. At times I thought he rushed a couple of situations. At times maybe he could connect with the final action a little better, but I loved that he was going for it at least, and he was, and I think he was doing a good job out on the field, just trying to make things happen for us. So again, it doesn't surprise me because again, if you know Harper at all, you know his personality. You put him on the field and he's going for it. There's nothing, he doesn't have a parachute or a seatbelt. This guy is going. And so I think that energy can be infectious, and then it's just putting some pieces. I still, as he continues to evolve, I still think his best position is going to be as an attacking fullback. And I think when he gets into that type of role on a consistent basis, he's going to continue to show some of those qualities, but he's going to do that arriving in on an attack versus being the primary attacker. And, so good things are in his future, and I just love his personality and willingness to go for it, which is great.
We'll do 2 more for Brad.
Coach Jonathan, finally get to see you in person instead of Zoom. This is the tough part now, where teams are sort of circling like sharks in the water, knowing that you're coming from a midweek game, that having a trip, Portland's going to probably have that opportunity too, where they're fresher teams you're playing. How do you sort of adjust on the fly, knowing that you're having these trips to do and midweek games that some other teams don't have to do, with that will be playing you? Obviously, that's a disadvantage in a sense, an advantage for them, but how do you sort of counter that and get your guys mentally ready, even if they physically are exhausted in a sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think guys look forward to playing. Players like to play games, and they want to go from game to game and play, and there's obviously a toll that can take place when there's a lot of travel. But I think, we've rotated a lot of guys. We started with, I think, 6 new guys today from the other day. We've tried to go through rotations so that we can keep guys fresh. I was mindful of a guy like Zhao. It was a debate whether we were going to start him or not. He was feeling okay, but we didn't want to push him too terribly long. The risk isn't worth the reward on that one. So at 60, we knew he was probably going to come off. So keeping an eye on a couple other guys through the game. So trying to balance this out at this time of year is always the challenge for all of us, all of the teams that are doing this. And then you just hope that you're not dealing with injuries at the same time that you're trying to balance off minutes for guys, because you're trying to keep guys healthy and fit. So it's a challenge. The second part that teams have is they get to look at us and train and prepare for us all week, and we get to watch a video and talk about how we want to prepare in 1 or 2 days. So that's one of the things that I think teams who aren't in Champions League, they get a little bit of the value of a longer preparation and really how they want to approach their game plan and work through it on the training field and video. But it doesn't, for me, it is what it is. That's what, if you want to play in these events and you want to be a top team, then you got to deal with these situations, and you got to show up, and you got to, whoever steps on the field has to perform and win games. That's what we got to do. So it's just that time of year, but we wouldn't want it any other way. So we want to be playing these games, and we want to travel to Jamaica and then to Portland and all that good stuff. So,
Greg, just quickly, update on Joe and Amira, if you could.
Miro is back into training. I think he could be available by Thursday. If not by Thursday, then by the weekend. Joe probably will be back after the international break, probably. He's doing better, but we think it's going to be just after the break. He'll have enough time and should be back.
Did that MRI just show just what you guys thought, which was a minor hamstring?
It was a minor hamstring issue. That those things, when you're playing 4 games in a short period of time, ends up being more games than you like. But yeah, not too bad. So everybody else, I think, is okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night. Yep.
Hello, guys. Maybe talk a little bit about just how you felt in this game. Again, I think another start for you, going a little bit deeper into this game, but did you, I think after the Wednesday game, you said you needed more time to feel more connected with everybody. Did you find that improved this game?
So, hello together, first of all. No, I feel much better today, honestly, personally. I said it 3 days ago. It takes obviously time because I'm with the team since probably 2.5 weeks now. Training fully with them. It's different to train with them instead of training on the side. But for me, it was much better, energy-wise better. The connection between the guys was better. Obviously not the result at the end. That's something else, but coming back to a question, yeah.
Just looking at obviously missing Joe and missing Gabe, and that's a lot of creativity. Greg was talking about that. But do you feel like the team out there today had the creativity to win that game?
I mean, if you look at the stats, more shots on goal, more possession. I think we controlled the game over almost 90 minutes and gave up almost nothing. So just the one situation of Decky where he scored was a great finish, but that's it. And so in the second half, we need to find solutions, need to find the gaps in between. Even there, I think we had the opportunities, and like I said, I think 20 shots on goal or whatever, and you need to finish them, and then the game looks completely different. So at the end, I'm sitting here and try to find the right answers for you. Also hard, tough for me. But we need to look forward and pick up the good things what we've done today, even if it's hard after a result like that. And the next game is coming in 3 days, 4 days, 5.
You guys had more of the game. They were a little more efficient. Some of that was day on being day on. And finding that efficiency for you guys were going game to game to game to game, and not have as much time on the training field to work things out as, especially at this part of the season, as like to. What are you guys missing from not having that time on the training field?
I can tell you what's missing. Obviously, the training sessions. Even now, it's all about recovery and going to the next game, finding maybe the right formation, the right players on the field. It's always challenging for the coach, also for us as a player. Then you need to travel 6-7 hours to get in another country, different time zone. That's obviously hard. That's not an excuse. It's like that, but that's part of our job, and it's on the other side also great because we love to play, and it's better than to train. But obviously, if you just look at me, for example. I'm with the team since 2.5 weeks. Getting used to the rhythm, getting used to the players takes time, and we don't have that time. But like I said, we are professional enough, and also today, if we would have won the game, everybody would have happy and would be completely different. But yeah, we're looking forward for the game in Jamaica, and the good results will come if you play like that, because like I said, the stats were good. We had a lot of good things in the game, and we just need to finish them better.
What was it like for you going up against your former teammates right away after joining this team? And what did you see in them that you felt very familiar with having played?
I mean, some guys stayed, a lot of guys left already, but I think the entire organization is completely different. New coaching staff on the sideline, so I could see a different team, a different Sporting KC, a much more organized one, and I'm happy for them. But today, I think we deserve more than 0 points.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much for talking to us, Rob on Sporting Tribune. Just looking back on the current results, the 0 draw with Miguelito, and then the struggles the other day against Mount Pleasant, and then the loss tonight. Is there a feeling perhaps that the team is playing down to the opponent at all, or are the inabilities to get going offensively more a matter of execution or personnel perhaps? Thank you.
I think it from a different perspective. I think we need to pick up the good stuff. What we did. I mean, we gave up almost no shots on goal. We created a lot of good things in the left third. These are the good things, and we showed it already that we can score goals. Sometimes, even Joao he's got 3 goals in one game. Today he couldn't. Sometimes you have games like that, and we need to keep going. Need to, like I said, pick up the positive things, and the games or the goals will come again. The execution, we will find them. I think we found them today as well. Just couldn't finish them, and as the question before, it's also hard because you have no real training session in between where you can figure things out. It's game after game after game after game, and travel in between. It's always not easy, and we'll get there for sure. I'm pretty positive.
We've seen you so far out on the wing, but we know you can also play through the middle as a 10 or as a attacking midfielder. Where do you feel most comfortable in this system? Thank you.
Almost everywhere, to be honest. We have great players also around me who can play also several positions. You said it before, I didn't mention it. We're missing Joe and Gabi. Great players, individual good players who can create something, especially on the wing. When it comes to my position, I can play almost everywhere up in front. So wherever the coach needs me, I'll be there.
Jim Alexander here. I don't know if you saw after the game day, got a really nice reception from fans going into the tunnel. You being here new, in a sense, what does that tell you about this fan base, the legacy of this organization and stuff, that they show the love to now an opposing player? I thought they show respect to by not celebrating. Does that show you something about this fan base that you're learning quickly in this organization, that they have this respect for former players, and once you've accomplished something here, you're someone always for this organization?
I mean, Dejan played here for several years and he won the championship. He had a lot of good games, a lot of good seasons. He deserved it. And he shows respect to the fans also when he scored and does celebrate. I think from both sides, it's really nice to see. I'm happy for him, especially in KC. He has great guys around him. He's now the captain of the team, shows also that he deserves a lot, and his performances were and are good. Yeah, it's great to see. But as a player, it's not given. If you're here, you need to perform. You need to give the fans something back to get the appreciation from them. So, and I think it's from both sides.
Here.
Perfect, guys. Have a good night. Thank you.
We will be joined shortly by Maya Yoshida.
No comment.
Hey, Maya, thank you for taking the time as always. This team feels like they're sort of stuck in neutral, right? Like there's not a lot that you're getting in terms of results, even if you have some good moments in play. What do you see that needs to change for you guys right now?
In terms of today, the final third, obviously we needed to score. First half, big opportunities, even second half, and instead they have only, I would say, 3-4 shots on target, and they scored 2. It was very soft as well. We shouldn't, as you know, we shouldn't have lost today. I don't get it. Same away last season, they didn't shot an own goal, my own goal, and we lost 1-0. It's very difficult to accept today and the last game as well. But today, especially, we play well, dominated the game. We play almost double time passing against them. But this, the finishing is most difficult and important part of the soccer. Again, it's very difficult to accept, but this is what it is. And realistically, some top teams already have 6 points ahead, and we have to get more points. That's very obvious. But another realistic thing is we have a game in Jamaica, very important game next week, midweek, and a difficult game against Portland away, and tough, and traveling a lot. So only the solution and the best solution is winning. Jamaica we win, Portland we win, and we come back. This is the only and the best way to get back from this chaos right now. That's my feeling.
Maya, you of course want these games. You want to be playing in Jamaica. You want the Champions Cup. That's what you play for. It is made for a very difficult schedule. Maybe we're midweek, weekend, traveling long distances.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting the time on the training field that, especially early in the season, that you'd like to get everything together. How much does this team need some time on the training field? And what are the things that you need to address on the training field that will then play out once you get into the game?
Good things is probably I mentioned last time I was here. So now most of the players understand how we play, like new player from last season, Elijah, Lucas, some young players as well. And we got Justin, Jakob, Elik already has been here MLS long time. So I would say it's not big problem for us to need to play 2 hours every day to understand each other. But more importantly, we have to keep our fitness. This is most important. As I say, Jamaica, last couple of weeks ago, like Panama, that's distance is crazy long. So to maintain the fitness is very, very important. And also away trip to different city in MLS, that's also very important to get the points, as you know. So these two games next ahead is very, very massive for us.
Hey Maya, thanks so much for talking to us. First 2 league matches, only 1 goal conceded, and the last 2 league matches now, it's been 6 conceded. What's been the difference?
Red card. But I told you, one game, then you guys say, oh yes, very good. But I said, wait, we have to see, it's just started, and we have to have a more consistency. And consistency comes from like really strong base. And even we rotate the players, whoever we play, we have to have a solid mentality, solid organization. And today, especially first goal, the last minutes of the first half, and we have to kill the game. At least 0-0, then the second half we are always good, in home especially. This is our home. We have to read the game, we have to understand the game, and we have to finish the first half safety, then we go again. We shouldn't concede that goal. It was really, really cheap, and we need to prepare better. And yeah, again, we have to, like many games, the best way is making clean sheet and get back our confidence.
It was your first time starting next to Justin Hack tonight. What did you see out of him? Thank you.
He could play both, number 6 and the centre back, and especially I think the coach is thinking rotation of the centre backs. I want midfielder as well. So he has to be ready for both positions, which is not easy. But as I say, he has been already long time MLS enough, and he has good experience and skills and the potential. I spoke to him a couple of times. Playing midfield is very important for him because anytime you can come back in the future, and also having the playing time, especially with me, with Jakob, that's another important thing for him to get the experience as a centre back, because centre back is like need to have to be like mature time by time, and midfielder have to be more mobile, and so he has both potential, and he has good mentality, preparing very well, professional. Probably he's very shy, but still, I think he's the right mentality so far.
Jim Alexander, as someone who wears the captain's armband and is a leader of this team, do you feel, aside from Greg, do you feel a leadership thing among the boys itself in the dressing room, just maybe talking to them, getting their spirits maybe up when they're down, especially some of the guys maybe that have been here last year that went through the losing? Do you feel that sort of responsibility, or something you like to do is sort of talk to the guys individually, get them mentally sort of uplifted, especially when the results aren't coming?
Things are easier when the things are going well, when we're winning. I think leadership is tested when the difficult moment. Last season it was very difficult for me to lead the team because we couldn't make a result. Also, my performance wasn't good enough, probably, I would say. It's not convincible, and we have to be. First, I have to play well. Then people listen to me. That's very obvious, and this is the most important things. Not only here, but also everywhere. National team, Schalke, Southampton, whatever. And so, as a leadership, I often talk with Marco, some key senior players, our player who has been long time, like JT, Jakob, Edwin as well. So, well, of course, that's important to talk individually to young players, but also they have to show the desire, because I'm not here 24/7 for him, for somebody, but I have been seeing many good players who improve a lot. They are already very desired. They are thirsty to improve. They want to grow up as quick as possible. So I don't have to talk. They come and they watching. They checking what need from Marco, from me, from experienced players, or even coach. What coach he wanted from himself. So this is coming from natural way, and the good players already know that. And of course, sometimes I speak. Sometimes.
Thank you, Maya.
Good? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
That concludes tonight's post-game press conference. The LA Galaxy head to Jamaica next week to face Mount Pleasant in leg 2.